don't see them succeeding because, we talked about dark side. I want to spend a few minutes on that. People doing a lot of dark side stuff believe they're doing it for right reasons. When they have problems of conscience, they basically either just disappear to the countryside or they get killed or they get shut up and imprisoned. And that's what goes on. But now we've had such a debate exposing dark side operations. They're so admitted that I'm telling you, I talk to a lot of famous special forces people and people that are high level in person. And I don't run into special forces people that aren't listeners now and aren't awake and don't know what's going on. I mean, they're super awake. I'm running into more and more feds who go, look, man, we don't want to totally destroy the country. We get you're right. This is scary. The Secret Service is just flipping out about the stuff Obama's doing. And that's why they're bringing up these scandals to control them, obviously. But probably bringing them the hookers to do it. But, I mean, as you know, you've talked about that. It's just they've got a problem in that they're so decompartmentalized. They wanted to just run al-Qaeda in Syria and have everybody go along with it. Well, that's not happened. I mean, so can you speak to dark side and, who you think some of the top controllers, I mean, is it still Kissinger? We know Soros is highly involved. They have these Bilderberg-type confabs with the kingpins where they fine-tune the agenda. I mean, we know how it works, but there's a very small percent that are actual, as you know, Luciferians who believe they're carrying out this great work for a greater good. Most of the people are just mercenaries.
Yeah, there's actually a few other categories that I would include, Alex. As I pointed out in Strategic Relocation, when I talked about the government threat, there are at least 3 levels of conspirators in this globalist conspiracy. There are the very top level, and as I've explained on your show before, I do think is satanic based. There's only one way to explain the generational effect that we're talking about. That is, for centuries, this has been going on. No single evil man could put such a thing in operation and expect his underlings to carry it forth flawlessly. Nobody, for example, would bring war upon themselves, destroying their own wealthy infrastructure unless they had satanic promises that I'll bless you on the other side, if you help me build my kingdom. But, you can't spread a conspiracy like that very far before it gets people turned off and afraid. So I think only the top 25 or 30 perhaps know about the full war agenda and bringing a third world war upon this nation in order to drive people into globalism. Sure.
Who is at the top from your research? Obviously, the literal Transylvanian royal family, the Rothschilds are at the top, the Rockefellers are at the top. There's a lot of old families. I mean, really, it is those classic names from my research that are at the top.
I'll frankly admit, I don't know, and I don't think anybody does know, because it's the best kept secret in the world. Now, we do know about those people who are public, and I personally agree with you. I think Rockefeller was at the top. I think he's too old and senile now to be much.
I agree. Who has it been handed to? Because I know they're trying a transference. They tried it to Senator Rockefeller. He's not been doing good.
My top pick is Zbigniew Brzezinski. As the heir apparent. He's got an evil aura about him.
He does. They worship him when he goes to these CFR events. They look at him with awe. That tells you.
Yeah, it does tell you an awful lot. Kissinger has been the kingpin of the public face of globalism for so many years, and he's still around. I mean, we have the admission from Jim Jones, the national security advisor under Obama, that in his 2009 Munich
Because I take orders on the CFR website from Henry Kissinger every day.
We get daily marching orders of the National Security Council from Henry Kissinger and Associates, passed down through Brent Scowcroft and Sandy Berger. So those people have to be top-level conspirators. I think the foreign policy advisors of every puppet president are the NSA advisor. And there's a domestic advisor too right now, Valerie Jarrett. She's a pretty evil woman, I believe, and advises him in that the socialist agenda there. But, there are dozens and thousands, perhaps, people, especially when they run up against a major conspiracy like the 9/11, which was a government operation from beginning to end. I can tell you that every one of the people on the 9/11 Commission know that there's a control system, know that it was a government operation, and know that they've been silent.
You're right, sir. 6 of them went public and said it's all a lie, it's a cover-up, bare minimum, stand down. I've talked to members of Congress that literally on the phone start crying. You hear them go, excuse me, when they start talking about it, and on air, you hear them choking up when they've read the 28 pages and more, and that's just proving they stood down. I mean, it's exactly, even high-level commissioners who the system thought they could trust freaked out and tried to go public. Panetta, the transportation secretary, went public 5 times and said, no, Cheney was there. Cheney ordered a stand down. So again, it shows how many good people there are. So how can then such a small group continue to carry their evil out?
Well, it comes from the threat of force, ultimately. They do kill enough people. Look at the 50 to 80 people who died surrounding Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton didn't order those deaths. But I'll tell you, the protection team of globalists that ran Bill Clinton as a puppet, they know how to protect their people. They know how to silence people who are getting, there was the transportation secretary that was killed in the plane crash in Bosnia that had a bullet in his head, and that had to be covered up. Look at all the people that got educated about the JFK assassination. So there are literally thousands of people who are saying yes to the establishment, who know there's a control system and fear for their lives, or there are the predictable yes men, like in the media. I don't think, even though all of the left-wing and pro-government media follows the government dictate, I don't think for a minute that all those liberal reporters are knowing conspirators, but I do think they're intimidated by knowing that they're going to lose their jobs. In fact, they got hired because they were predictable liberals. They don't have to be instructed on everything. They will generally do what's...
I agree. Let me throw you this piece of intel. A couple days ago, as you know, the 58-year-old healthy Russian intelligence chief who's been leading operations in Syria and Ukraine magically dies. They're not saying how.
Well, both the U.S. and the KGB, or the follow-on services there, have a very sophisticated array of ways of killing people. Either through injection, through aerosols.
Sure, and if the West did kill him, that is quite a shot across the bow.
It is, but remember, Putin is showing surprising restraint from the shoot down of the Su-24 by Turkey.
So this is meant, obviously, is what I thought, a provocation to bloody the Russians' nose.
Yeah, and basically the U.S. wants a war with Russia and China. They want to provoke that, but they cannot be seen to starting it. And that's why I don't think it's going to start in the Middle East. I think they're blooding their nose. They're irritating Russia. They're making the U.S. out to be a bully, which we are around the world. But, the U.S. can't start this war. They've got to make the U.S. appear to be the victim of the war with Russia and China. And
one of my producers had a question. They wondered if the West would ever do a false flag and blame Russia.
I don't think so. We remember that would only give the U.S. an excuse to attack Russia. And they can't get what they want by attacking Russia. They have to wait till Russia and China attack us so that we look like the victim. Our leaders come out of their bunkers and say, we didn't know this was going to happen. And now our only solution is to join in a militarized global government. And I think that's
right.
So
Joel Skousen, we're out of time. WorldAffairsBrief.com. We'll have to have you back to talk about the election soon. Thank you so much. I'm going to come back and start getting into the crimes that Obama's committed, the article on Infowars.com. Thank you so much, sir.
My pleasure, Alex.
Very informative interview, as always, with Joel Skousen. I'm Alex Jones. Stay with us.